here. Welcome to another video. I wanted to do a continuation on the last video, talking about how we can deal with some of these different distortions, as I call them, that are actually been pushed out into our lives, into our world, that are coming to us for us in order for us to come back into wholeness. So if you have not watched the last video, please go back to the last episode and watch that one first, and even maybe the one before that, because I'm pulling out my charts and things just to help you to synthesize the information and to, hopefully be impulsed to do some of this work for yourself, to bring more peace, more joy, more abundance, more health, better relationships to you, which is pretty much what we're all looking for. So the ironic thing is we're looking for these things outside of us, right? We're constantly looking outside to try to fulfill these parts of us that feel empty. And we don't recognize that the work is inside. But yet the paradox here, and I'm just totally flowing off the seat of my pants here. I don't have any notes. So hopefully this will jive with you. The paradox is that everything that's outside of you actually is, as I mentioned in the last video, an aspect of you that you've denied, that's been kind of pushed out into the world around you. So it is everything that's coming to you is for you to reintegrate and to come back into wholeness. So it's kind of funny. You can see the paradox in it. I'm telling you, don't look outside of you to find fulfillment, because it's not there. And yet when what's outside of you comes to you and it's triggering you, or it's whatever, you start to recognize, or I want you to, that it's coming in for you to show you something, or for you to play a role in that other person's becoming whole as well. So we're all connected. We're all one. We're all entangled quantumly. And so the parts of us that we've disowned, that are distortions, as I call them, again, limiting beliefs, faulty core programs that we have, that we've brought in, or that were laid, in our first 7 years, trapped traumas and emotions we haven't been able to process, all kinds of things that we've done, that we're guilt, and all these feelings. These become actual distortions in the physical body that can become illness. Of course, it's all based in that. We're all energy. And so the things that we've pushed out of us, that we've disowned, come to us in reflection. So when I shared this model for you, when I told you that you are in the fourth dimension of time and space, you're a physical being, and as you are in these lower levels of consciousness, we have all kinds of distortions that are basically kind of pushed out around you. Okay, so I'll just make those into like little dots and points around you. These are all like fractals and parts of you that are no longer integrated within you. But at the same time as they're created here, as I shared a couple of videos ago, the sixth dimensional, the spiritual aspect of you, which is just another, when I say dimension, it's just another level of awareness. What's happening over here is everything that's going on here is fulfilled here. So whatever's missing here is fulfilled here, is complete here. So this is kind of like an aspect of your higher self, or, another soul. It's part of the soul stream. Okay. Your soul stream is multidimensional. It's coming from, gosh knows, 12 plus dimensions down into the physical, down into third dimensional matter. And so that condensation is, we have these different levels of being able to see that and have that awareness. And in the fourth dimension, we have all these different levels of consciousness, right? And that's that whole scale I always show you. So what's happening up here is everything is also created here. All those things that were pushed out here are held up here as well. And so your whole life around you, everything that's going on around you, is actually an opportunity to realize all of this, because this is already accomplished. Oh God, it's so twisted. I know it sounds kind of crazy. It's already accomplished in that fifth dimension. I said this in the last video. Watch that last video. All of this is mirrored and held in the fifth dimension from both sides. So everything that seems distorted down here in this really dense realm, and everything that's created from that in its opposite parallel reality, is done here, and all of it's witnessed and held without time and space in the fifth realm, in the fifth dimension. And that fifth dimension is where we're going. Love consciousness, right? It's heart-centered consciousness. So here's what I want to share here. So currently in the lower levels, so all these things are coming at us, right? A situation comes and it triggers us. Ugh, you get angry and you realize, okay, I'm feeling anger here. And I've shared this in past videos as well. You want to be with it. So you want to deal with this from a masculine and a feminine side. Okay. So in the lower realms, our feminine and our masculine are a little more animalistic. Okay. So it's emotionality, not real consciousness there. It's like an unconscious emotionality and reaction. And and then, so that would be like a lot of those emotions that I talk about: shame, fear, guilt, all those things. And then the masculine side, which would be the brain, right, or the mental side, wants to control it or to, fight it or whatever it is, take action in the physical to try to make it different so that it feels better. So it's kind of like these two animalistic sides to go take it and keep it and make sure it's mine. And so you've got this emotionality and this kind of out of control sort of, so these are in the lower realms. So if you're down in that realm, you're probably not on this channel. Let me just say that. But you might have aspects that kicks up certain aspects of your life that you might find that. And by the way, I'm doing an interview with some people that do these measurements. So in all different aspects of your life. So stay tuned on that, because it's going to be really, really fascinating. So you can see how you can be really high in one area and really still have some work to do in other areas. And it's really very cool to understand that. So as you move up into courage, right? And that's when you, like I had mentioned, you come into the spiritualized self. So now you have an etheric brain and you have a spiritual sort of will that is born and is starting to pull you up. In the lower realms, you kind of need a savior outside of you to kind of hang your hat and try to pull you up, because you don't have that spiritual will yet naturally. And this is not judgmental in any way. This is all literally just, our own levels of development. We're all one. But when you get to that courage, that will starts to kick up, and then it starts to really kick up and it starts to kind of levitate and pull you up. And so when you're in those levels and a situation and things come at you, now you're starting to work more with the right, the feminine side, being more intuitive and starting to listen and to the voice, to that quieter voice and that impulse, and also the impulse of the body, which is binary. Okay, the subconscious is binary. It's basically a yes or a not yes. It's a yes or a no. And then the mental side is going to be more rationalizing, and I wouldn't say rationalizing as much as reason, and more logic and reason, and also taking action. So when you have the intuition and the reason coming together and work, and as you go up that scale, more and more working together in a harmony, you start to trust the intuition and you start to take it to the mind, or the mind comes up with an idea and you take it to the heart. And now we're starting to work with the alchemy of bringing the masculine and feminine together. This is the Heros Gamos of bringing the heart, the brain, the mental masculine to the feminine, to the heart. And this is the heart-based consciousness. This is the wholeheartedness. This is living in that fifth dimension that I'm talking about. We keep wanting to collapse it to there. And what that means is you start to come to a space where, when these situations are happening, circumstances, a person, something that they say, any kind of a trigger, you learn to sit with the emotion. Okay, first of all, right? So to get past the primal part of things, the animal part of things, sit with the emotion, let it pass, just let it be there. Don't judge it. Do not go to the mind with it. Don't try to rationalize it, tell a story about it, pull more things to justify it. Just let it be, breathe through it, and just some slow breath to let that pass, let the emotionality pass. And then you can go to the mental at that point and just say, okay, not to the dysregulated mental, because if you didn't sit with it, then you would probably go to the mental, and then you might try to control the situation or fight or flight or whatever. Okay, take whatever that reaction would be. Okay, so emotionality and reaction. So sit with it, calm that part of it, and then we can take it to the mind, which now you're going to take it to consciousness and up above that level, and you're going to bring it to your awareness. And it's at that point that you can then ask the question, what is it that I was feeling there? After you've released the energy of it, you might have to go back to it later. What was it that I was feeling? And is there something that I was believing, or what did that trigger in me? Was it, what was the thought that created that reaction? Could it be true that they didn't mean that, or that the situation was here for me? In what way did I attract this? If this came in for me, then why did it come in for me? What is it that I need to see about this? When you start to take radical responsibility for everything you've created, that you've pushed out of your life, that's now coming back for you to reintegrate, and you start to bring consciousness to it and calm down the energetics of the lower realms and start bringing light to it, and that spiritualized aspect of you, and bring some intuition in, and bring trusting that those impulses and those feelings that you're having, and then bringing those to the mind and keeping them connected always, taking a little bit of space to be thoughtful about it and conscious and present with what's happening. That's when you're going to start to get huge revelation. Something crazy that might seem out of left field could hit you, and it'd be like, and if you could just take a deep enough breath, or a few deep breaths. And a great one is a pause breath, to take a deep breath in, pause for 2 seconds, and then let it back out, and do that a few times. A few pause breath helps to activate that parasympathetic nervous system, because we are either in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is calm and wonderful and peaceful, or we're in the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, freeze, fawn, whatever. And we really need to regulate ourselves. We don't want to be in the lower dysregulated states. We want to take a moment and just regulate with your breath, feel the feeling, and then start to ask those deeper questions. Why did I attract this? What is it that this is trying to show me? And be radically responsible with that. It doesn't mean that you take abuse, or that it's your fault, or any of that. It's there to teach you something. So you start to learn to discern what's going on and how to take that next action, rather than to just judge or project it back out, or to stuff it back down, or whatever, and trap more things. We want to start to move up this spiral. And if you remember from the masculine feminine series, I talked about the negative and the positive. Everything is polarities. We live in a dual universe here, a dual world in these lower, in the fourth and the third dimension. We live in the polarities, basically. So up, down, black, white. I like this, I don't like that, judgments, preferences. Everything is judged and categorized, and we give meaning to everything. As we move higher and higher up into the fifth dimension, you learn to accept every moment. You learn to accept what's coming, and to be curious about it, and to not give it a label or a judgment or a story or what have you. Certainly not to react anymore, but to get to a place where you learn to accept it and be present with it. And you can separate yourself from the ego, so you can come out of that fight, flight, freeze, sympathetic nervous system, and into the parasympathetic nervous system, because that's really what we're doing here. As we are moving into these higher realms, we are alchemizing, and we are not alchemizing well, we are a lot of certainly the distortions, but we are ascending through these frequencies to higher and higher frequencies. We're becoming lighter and lighter and lighter, and we are crystallizing. Our carbon base is actually shifting and changing into more light. And so that process it's just happening. If we're on this planet, that's what's happening. That's happening with the planet as well, and the frequencies there. And so when you start to really work with it and recognize, like, this is the time we chose to be here, and you have access to everything you've ever wanted in this lifetime. I say everything you ever wanted, what your soul wants, and what your soul wants to express through you in embodiment in the 3D, in this body. We get to actually be our soul in this body when we step aside all of our egoic, distorted ways. And we're not losing anything in that. We're all quantumly entangled, and we are all working together. And the highest, source wants nothing but it is only made of love and cooperation and care. And when I say cooperation, I mean it's all it's harmony. And so we need to come out of our disharmony and create harmony within us in order to tune in with that, and then to go, really be the multidimensional beings that we are. So we're really just working between that third, fourth, and fifth for the most part, and sixth, in those realms right now. But we are multidimensional, and we have access to all the different dimensions. It's just coming online and reactivating and lightening all of this crap and all of these distorted energies that are keeping everything from just flowing through us and to us. So be aware of what's going on around you. Take radical personal responsibility to feel through those things that are uncomfortable, to calm down that nervous system, and to allow it to upgrade as you bring more light to it and more awareness to it, which is the same thing: awareness, light, consciousness, and love. And to run it through the heart as well. How does love see this? How is this for me? How is my soul bringing this to me for me? What is it they're here to learn? So I hope that you enjoy this little lesson in alchemy, I guess you could say, or transmutation, and that you get lots of value from it. And hopefully I will hear more from you of what you'd like to hear from me, and I'll see what comes up next in my inspiration. So thanks for being with me here today, and I'll see you in the next video.